Hello and welcome to the June update from the Tau team. And you're here with me, Fola. Let's get into your Q&A questions. All right, so the first question is from Dosky, and they ask, hello, Tau team. I believe in this project since day one, thank you very much, and still have faith, but this delay of Tau language and blockchain testnet affects Agoras a lot. Are there any updates?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the general setting is that we are turning cutting edge and actively changing research into software. This makes giving reliable time estimates exceptionally difficult, but we as a team are working actively on enhancing the communication to the community regarding progress. And in this direction, we have started to demo the current status of the Tau language, and we'll keep doing this from time to time. And the first such demo was released by our lead developer, David, prior to this month's update. And also in this month's update, you will find individual demos of what was achieved this month by each person. And yeah, we are working hard every day to make this project a success. And thank you for having faith in us. And if you have any questions regarding the demos, please feel free to reach out.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Luca. And the next question is from Sir Andrew, and he asks, will the knowledge representation feature of Tau come after the release of the controlled natural language interface? And also, how is the development of the two variable fragment of logic with counting? Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Andrew, for the question. Before the controlled natural language interface will be present, we need to have the KRR features ready. The KRR features will be ready once we have the implementation of the two variable fragment with counting in our framework. And since there's a controlled natural language exactly for the two variable fragment, we will be able to implement it readily. Regarding the controlled natural language interface for the Tau language, we have to figure out what a good controlled natural language could look like for this whole language. And then regarding the second question, the development on the two variable fragment with counting related algorithms have not started yet because we're working with all our force towards the Tau alpha release.
All right. Thank you very much, Luca. And thank you, Sir Andrew. And the next question again is from Sir Andrew. And he asks, how can implicit knowledge be encoded on Tau?
Yeah, so it depends what you mean implicit knowledge. But generally speaking, you can say something explicitly. So you, let's say, if you look at Tau as a software specification language, so you can say exactly what software you want. Or you can say things implicitly. You can say what things it should satisfy, what things should not happen, and then the system will try to find something that satisfies all the requirements.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Ahad. And the next question is from someone new, Leo, welcome. And they ask, can we see comparison data between software and hardware of Agoras versus competitors? And essentially, they're asking for a proof of concept. Cheers.
Hi, Leo, and thanks for your question. If I understood it correctly, you want to know what the requirements for hardware in Agoras versus other AI or crypto projects. At this point, Agoras or Tau will be very CPU intensive as opposed to other projects who can use GPUs. So if you're looking at mining Tau or Agoras in the not too distant future, it would be better to have a machine that has many CPUs as opposed to many GPUs. I think that's what we can tell so far. When we get closer, of course, to the final release, we'll have more precise data on what hardware is best for mining Agoras. Thanks for the question again.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Leo, and to Karim for answering that one. And the next question is from Sir Andrew. and they ask, any plans for the community members who wish to contribute in educating the children of today, as they will be the Tau builders of tomorrow?
Well, in its initial stage, building on Tau will require a good understanding of Boolean algebra and functions, which naturally makes it more geared towards developers rather than kids. So our current focus is mainly on creating an environment where regular developers can flourish. And once support for controlled natural languages is in place, it will be much easier for anyone to develop software using Tau, which also will be the time where one can bring our technology closer to children.
Just following on from what Killian's saying, absolutely that's something we want to do. We can see ourselves in collaborating with schools in the future once Tau is in a place where we can start to introduce it to children. All right, and the next question is from Dana, and he asks, in Tau language, what steps are being taken to avoid the potential problem of state explosion, similar to combinatorial explosion? Will there need to be lots of memory?
Thank you for your question, Dana. The main ingredient for avoiding a state explosion is mainly using direct acyclic graphs to encode every formula, which is a node in a global direct acyclic graph. Eagerly normalization and simplification, which will reduce the possibilities to consider in the direct acyclic graph, also helps. As you pointed out, the Tau language wouldn't be a light process in terms of memory use. Apart from that, Umar is developing an optimized tree data structure to back the direct acyclic graph that hugely reduce the memory use, and we also plan to use file memory maps to alleviate the memory consumption. Regardless of all regardless of how much we try to reduce memory consumption, the underlying problem is memory hungry, so expect some memory use.
All right, thank you to Dana and to David for answering that question. And the next question again is from Dana, and he asks, is the complexity class for the two-variable fragment with counting known? I understand that the two-variable fragment has a complexity class NEXPTIME.
Thank you for the question. Yes, it is known. So there are two distinct problems of deciding whether a formula from the two-variable fragment with counting is satisfiable. The first question is whether the formula has a finite model. The other question is if a formula has any model at all, hence also possibly infinite models. But it turns out that the complexity class for both of those problems is NEXPTIME, so non-deterministic exponential time, like in the case without counting. The main difference is that in the case without counting, any formula that has any model always also has a finite model, which is called the finite model property, and that is what the two-variable fragment with counting does not have anymore.
All right, thank you so much, Luca. And the next question is from Pete, and he asks, with Tau developed in its full capacity, if you could solve one problem using it, what would you solve?
Yeah, I guess the one big thing, which is what Tau is really intended to do from the beginning, is to solve the problem of social governance.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Pete, and thanks, Ahad. So the next question is from Alice, and they ask, will there be some compensation for scammed Chaoex victims before mainnet launch while it's still possible to do? That's a great question. Now, we've looked into this from a legal perspective to see what we can do, and our legal advisors have told us that because you guys are the claimants or whoever's lost funds due to Chaoex or any exchange going down, it would be the responsibility of the people who have an actual claim. So, yeah, that would be down to you guys. You could come together. Feel free to make a private TG group on that one, and there'll probably be a lot more other communities who've been scammed by many exchanges, but unfortunately it's always going to be a case in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. So yeah, please keep that in mind. Cheers. And the last question is from Dana, and he asks, does Tau language take formulas as input and output formulas? He goes on to ask, it is said that GSS OTC can work with trees, and what are the implications of working with trees rather than strings?
Yeah, so in the Tau language, as a software specification language, in the Tau language, you specify programs, and those programs takes as take input and return output, which are tau specification themselves. And by that, we achieve the goal of a language that speaks about its own sentences with all its necessity for implementing a software that is controlled by its users. For the trees aspect of GSS OTC, I don't know. So I know that you can do trees instead of only sequences. I know that mathematically it should have more expressive power, but what it can be used to, that's still open question for me.
All right. Fantastic. That ends the Q&A questions. Thank you to you guys for asking these questions, and thank you to the team for answering them. And we'll see you on Telegram. Cheers.